Hello, Dai here from Timeslip Softworks. Welcome to the 50-second development video for Vigilantes. In this video I'll cover the additions and improvements made in Vigilantes version 28, which is now available from Steam and is currently on sale for roughly the next 2 weeks. Before I do this, I'd like to give you a quick update on overall development progress. At this point, the expectation is that there'll be 2 more updates and that Vigilantes will release in either the first or the second week of October 2018. So we're almost there. I'm just going to load in it very quickly, load in a game so I can show you some of these the changes which have been made in this update. Now, I suppose the first obvious thing is that the city map's been updated. It's not in its final state just yet. We needed a little more work on, I think, the suburbs tile, and there's a Chinatown tile which also needs to be added. But it's a little more kind of varied and better looking than before. Now, the only feature which has been added in this update, and I'm somewhat hesitant to add features at this point unless I think it's sort of important to either adding content or balance, and I think in this case it's sort of important for balance. I added a little more control over how you deploy into combat. So you have the choice here, we've locked onto this tile, you have a choice for a long range deployment, which is a 79% chance of success, a close range deployment, which is a 65% chance of success, and now if you manage to deploy close range, you get +1 initiative and +1 AP for the battle. So you know, this is basically, you've kind of caught the enemies in the hop and you're up close to them, so you can kind of exploit that advantage. If you fail to deploy, if they spot you before you get into position, you are considered to be ambushed. This places you in a less advantageous starting position. Typically enemies will be closer, less of your team will be in cover, more of the enemies will be in cover, and you'll have less opportunity to use the likes of gas tanks or anything like that against the enemies in combat. Okay, so I'll just move on to this update. It's largely centered, as the last one, a couple of ones has, on adding content and balancing the game. Now, this has been a pretty good update for perks. We have 7 new perks in this update, and they tend to be the kind of high level weapon specific perks. And this is Lead Finger. It's a special attack for SMG which fires 4 times for 7 AP rather than 3 times for 6. This is Weak Spot. All shots from a handgun for the next turn do 10% more damage, and they bypass armor and other resistances. Now, there's a bit of a formatting issue here, but look at that. But it costs 0 AP and has a 2-turn cooldown. Let's see. Gunslinger. Now, these are all, I've kind of missed the percentile symbol here, so this gives you 15% damage and +20% critical chance to handguns and SMGs. Firing position, attacked with a precision rifle costs -1 AP if you haven't moved during the current round. Snipers, 15% damage +10% critical chance with sniper rifles, +10% chance to hit when targeting body parts. Destroyers, the high level close combat perk, it's +20% damage +20% critical chance for unarmed in close combat. And we also have Buckshot Storm, which is +20% damage with shotguns. Now, these perks they're not balanced as such yet. This is just kind of the sort of initial take on what they should be, so they may well change over the next couple of updates. Moving back, the last 2 maps for the game have been added. One of these is a kind of a train station in the old industrial sector, which is down here, and the second is a motel on the outskirts of the city, which you'll be able to find along these tiles here. This basically brings the maps to an end. It's 46 maps. I think we agreed to 45, and I don't think the game it doesn't need any more at this point. So we're kind of drawing a line under making any more maps now. It's been a pretty good update for dialogue as well. There have been several thousand new words of dialogue added. There are 3 new non-combat encounters. Post-combat dialogue has been added for 5 encounters. So this basically adds some sort of RPG style elements in at the end of a dialogue encounter after you're finished the combat. Code has also been added to make dialogue encounters occur more reliably. Now, it is worth pointing out each dialogue encounter is linked to a tile type, so there's one that happens in the outskirts can't happen anywhere else. There's typically a minimum level, a character level for dialogue encounters, so they don't all kind of happen at once, and sometimes there's a gang, a specific gang must be met, but now it doesn't really matter which of these tiles you click on. The minute the requirements are met by say you need a survivalist in and outskirts. If you click on that, it'll bring you to any dialogue encounters. So it just helps to present them more reliably, as previously, a lot of them just weren't manifesting in playthroughs. Been quite a lot of work on balance as well. I've started the game several times again to try and get the balance a bit better. Now, what I'm focusing on balancing is hard-boiled. I haven't really touched the first 2 difficulty levels that much, because I don't really want to make them that much harder than they are, because I'd just like them to be accessible to some, to a new player that's just picking up the game for the first time. Hardboiled is very much aimed at people that have already played through the game, or just understand the systems and what the best way to efficiently proceed is. I've set up hardboiled. I've basically made a number of changes. Enemies get more buffs now, and they level up quite a lot faster than they did before. Now, I was still able to level up faster than the enemies, but they're keeping up pace with me much better. And I've kind of set it up so it's difficult for me, but not impossible. It's not like I didn't find it a frustrating experience to play on hardboiled, but I couldn't just go and attack a danger level 2 tile straight away, because it took about level 5 or 6 before I was able to do that, and even still, I took so much damage it nearly wasn't worth it. Let's see. The crafting interface has been improved in this update. So you can see now, you just presents a little more nicely. It tells you the number of workers. You can also, a little quality of life improvement is you can determine if you can craft multiples of the same item. Just saves you kind of clicking. And also weapons now, let's just look for one that has everything. Weapons now have 7 upgrades rather than, some of them had up to 14, which would have taken about 30 weapon upgrade parts to fully upgrade a weapon. And this isn't great, because you probably weren't going to keep the weapon anyway. You probably find a better weapon down the line. So I've reduced it to 7 upgrades per weapon. And these upgrades typically just focus on maintaining, what this weapon does well, rather than kind of mitigating its weaknesses. It was pointed out that if you kind of start to mitigate the weakness of the various weapon types, that they're going to end up being more similar, rather than maintaining their unique pros and cons. If this button will become active if the weapon can be upgraded to a new type. So if you click on that, it'll tell you need a weapon upgrade kit, and it'll upgrade it to a General Arms Patriot Plus. Also, you'll see the number of, as you can see here, this is the number of upgrades that have already been applied to a weapon or an armor. Some people pointed out they're actually selling stuff that it upgrades because it wasn't displayed on it, so I went and just fixed that as well. So I think the crafting UI is better, the crafting system itself is better, and there's better feedback of information on what's going on with crafting. Let's see, I can just go back here and look at the new items, the new utility items. There's a lockpick kit, which increases your bypass skill by 5. There's a lightweight footwear, which increases your move AP by 1. And there have also been 2 new weapon upgrades. These are for, I don't have either of the items, but they're for the katana. You can upgrade that to a kind of a customized katana, and you can upgrade, I think it's the samurai assault rifle, into a better, like an upgraded version too. So there'll be more of these in the next couple of updates as well. Something I'll be adding some more of. And the Church of the Final Exodus are a bit more difficult now. They were kind of the weakest of the gangs for the most part, and I try to get them there, so I think they're closer to sort of parity with the other gangs now. The shop will have more crafting components. It'll have medical supplies, gunpowder, I think at least 1 weapon part, and a couple of other, and the armor parts by default now each time it refreshes. There weren't enough of these, I think, for kind of a meaningful amount of crafting to be done. And yeah, just one small last thing. You can now repair all the equipped weapons of your team with a click. So all these weapons for every character in your team, you can just repair that with a click, and that's that done. It was really annoying kind of having to go through and click and repair each one of them. So that's kind of a nice little time saver for that side of it. Now, apart from that, there's been a couple of fixes. Less sort of bugs are sort of appearing these days, I guess, as the game gets further on in development. So I'll wrap up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll be starting work on Vigilantes version 29 today, so stay tuned for updates.